Here are the top stories for today, May 27, 2022. Metro Manila and several other parts of the country remain under COVID-19 Alert Level 1 from June 1 to 15. Government officials and business leaders express support for the incoming members of the Marcos cabinet. The Department of Health warns that no vaccine has yet been authorized to prevent monkeypox. And the Post Office honors national artist Larry Alcala with stamps featuring his Slice of Life series. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Metro Manila will remain under Alert Level 1 from June 1 to 15 following the slow uptick trend of coronavirus cases in the region and the rest of Luzon since mid-May. Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Michelle Christian Ablan said the entire National Capital Region will be placed under the most lenient classification together with other areas in some regions. Flashed on your screens are the included areas in other regions and provinces. Ablan meanwhile noted that the Interagency Task Force has approved the repealing of the medical insurance requirement for students attending in-person classes. This was originally indicated in CHED Memorandum Circular 2021-0-04. The IATF also approved the lifting of pre-departure testing for fully vaccinated and boosted individuals, as well as the lifting of medical insurance for inbound travelers.
The difference between this IATF resolution is we did lift the requirements on medical insurance and it makes it easier for our travelers to come to our shores.
President Rodrigo Duterte reiterated his commitment to keeping the Filipinos safe and healthy. During the Res Vacuna ceremonial vaccination for second booster dose at SM Mega Mall in Mandaluyong City, the President thanked all frontline healthcare workers and senior citizens who lined up to get their second booster shots during the event. He said getting vaccinated against COVID-19 not only protects recipients, but also their families and the entire country.
The government remains committed to keeping everyone safe and healthy, especially now, as we try to regain economic and social stability for our nation. Let us all work together so that we may all heal together as one.
Presidential Advisor on COVID-19 Response Secretary Vince Dizon also emphasized the importance of getting vaccinated as well as observing minimum public health standards.
Kung mapaalala sa ating lahat na ang bakuna talaga at itong mask, at ito talagang dalawang to ang nagsasalba sa atin. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit ang malls natin ay napupuno na ng tao ngayon. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit ang ating mga kababayan ay nakakabalik na sa trabaho.
The Res Vacuna ceremonial vaccination for second booster dose, organized by the Department of Health, highlights the Duterte administration's steadfast response against the COVID-19 pandemic by protecting every Filipino until the very last day of his term. The Philippines has meanwhile already fully vaccinated almost 77% of its target population against COVID-19. Government officials and the business community have expressed their support for the incoming administration of President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said he will be leaving the Department of Trade and Industry in the most capable hands of Secretary Pascual. He said he will definitely extend his full support to him for a smooth transition and beyond. Meanwhile, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion said he is confident that Pascual will continue the programs and policies of the Department of Trade and Industry that will help and support micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs. The Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI, also lauded the appointment of economic managers. PCCI President George Barcelon said he believes they would do good in managing the country's fiscal affairs amid huge debt deficit and the need for post-pandemic reforms and programs. In a separate statement, the Makati Business Club welcomed the appointments of the next cabinet team, which also include Manuel Bonoan for the Department of Public Works and Highways, Bienvenido Laguesma for the Department of Labor and Employment, and Susan Tuts Ople for the Department of Migrant Workers. Malacanang is leaving it up to the incoming economic team of President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to decide on the proposed new and higher tax measures. This after the Department of Finance recommends raising the country's revenues and settling debts by imposing higher taxes, deferring personal income tax reductions, and repealing some tax exemptions. Marcos is scheduled to assume office on June 30. He earlier picked Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno to lead his economic team as the next finance secretary. Data from the Bureau of the Treasury shows that the country needs to raise at least 249 billion pesos every year for the next 10 years to pay the 3.2 trillion peso debt incurred during the pandemic. President Rodrigo Duterte asked President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to continue his anti-illegal drug campaign. Marcos said during the meeting he had with Duterte before the May 9 elections, the president asked him to prioritize addressing the country's drug problem in his own way. He said he fully appreciates what Duterte had said as the drug problem still exists. Acting presidential spokesperson and communications secretary Martin Andanar earlier pointed out the success of the administration's anti-narcotics campaign, which saw over 75 billion pesos worth of seized drugs, over 1 million surrendered drug personalities, and the more accredited drug abuse treatment and rehab centers across the country. Marcos said he is open to Duterte being his anti-drug czar if he wants to.
The one thing that he was very assertive about was that ituloy mo yung anti-drug syndicate na sinimulan ko. Do it your own way. He really said that. Do it your own way. Palitan mo, gawin mo yung gusto, pero wag mong iiwanan yan dahil kawawa ang kabataan natin. Talagang nasisira ang mga buhay nila. I'm open to anyone who is able to help in the government. So, matagal na kaming magkaibigan ni PRRD. Nung mayor siya pa, long time ago. So, I'm sure if he wants to play a part, sasabihin naman niya sa akin. Certainly open to all of that.
President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. said he would protect the Philippine sovereign rights in its maritime domain. He will also uphold the Hague-based Permanent Court of Arbitration, or PCA 2016 ruling, invalidating most of China's claims at the West Philippine Sea. Marcos said his government will talk to China with a firm voice regarding the matter, but would not go to war, saying it is the last thing we need right now. China has repeatedly ignored the ruling, while the Philippines has maintained its stance to resolve the sea disputes through peaceful and diplomatic negotiations.
We will not allow a single square, and even make it smaller, a single square millimeter of our maritime coastal and up to our 200 kilometers rights to be trampled upon. We have a very important ruling in our favor, and we will use it to continue to assert our territorial rights. It's not a claim; it is already our territorial right.
Still ahead, the Department of Health warns that no vaccine has been authorized yet to prevent monkeypox. Israel announces 2,000 job openings for Filipino hotel workers. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Ako po si Sergeant Muñoz ng Philippine Air Force para sa kampanya na Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Proud po akong sabihin na bakunado na ako laban sa COVID-19. Kaya naman po panatag ang aking kalooban dahil alam ko na protektado ako at ang aking pamilya laban sa coronavirus. Bida ang may disiplina. Kaya naman magparehistro at magpabakuna na para sa ligtas na pamilya at ligtas na bayan.
The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, has not yet approved nor authorized any vaccine against monkeypox. However, several studies are showing that vaccines used for smallpox may work through cross-protection. The Department of Health insisted that basic infection control alongside the strict border regulations will be efficient against monkeypox. The DOH particularly pertains to their four-door strategy, which includes practices helping with the coronavirus pandemic management. The Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, or RITM, meanwhile is eyed as the main isolation facility should the monkeypox enter the country. Despite all these, the Health Department assures the healthcare system in the country is prepared.
Be rest assured that the DOH is working hand in hand with all our stakeholders for preparation should the monkey virus enter the country. We coordinate with our global authorities kung ano ang pwede pang gawin for monkeypox control.
Over 69 million Filipinos nationwide are now fully vaccinated against the coronavirus disease, which contributed to the prevention of significant COVID spikes following massive rallies during the election campaigns. The Health Department, however, reminded the public to maintain adherence to protocols as they prepare for the transition of pandemic response strategies to the incoming administration. More on this from Stephanie Sevillano.
Filipinos should not let their guards down as the country is not yet out of the woods, according to Health Undersecretary Mirna Cabotaje. She made the warning as she insisted coronavirus remains unpredictable with the emergence of new variants. Cabotaje, however, expressed confidence as the country wraps its vaccination drive. In fact, over 69.1 million have been fully vaccinated in the country.
76.87% of the population. Medyo tumaas na ng konti, nakaka 200,000 a day jobs na tayo compared to about less than 100,000 during at bago mag-eleksyon.
The Health Department also noted they are recording an increasing number of senior citizens availing of the second booster shot. As of May 25, around 171,000 senior citizens and immunocompromised individuals have already received their second booster shots. Meanwhile, COVID-19 response Presidential Advisor Secretary Vince Dizon said they are ready to turn over their best practices to the incoming administration. Dizon said they will assure smooth transition in the lead of the Health Department to ensure efficient pandemic management. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
Meanwhile, starting next week, Senate hybrid sessions will no longer be allowed as senators were required to report face-to-face. Senate President Vicente Soto III said this setup should not be passed on to the incoming Congress, considering Metro Manila is in Alert Level 1. Soto argued they only used the hybrid sessions given the public health emergency, which he said is no longer a case for the lawmakers. The Committee on Rules then agreed with the Senate President.
But there is no longer an emergency. You know, the worst is alert level 1.
Yes,
So we have to show the people that we are working.
yes. Actually, as I said, the classes, schools, Mr. President, will start face-to-face classes on June.
Face-to-face na eh. Bakit yung mga senador hindi face-to-face? Di ba? Baka sabihin nilang gano'n. So that's the reason I wanted you, the Committee on Rules, to study that.
Actually, we don't need to study, Mr. President. You can make a ruling right now and say on Monday, we will no longer have hybrid sessions.
All right. If there is no objection, then we will have no hybrid on Monday.
Considering the strong historic ties with the Philippines, Israel is set to welcome hundreds of Filipino tourism workers. This is yet another first for the said country in terms of foreign labor. Israeli Ambassador Ilan Flus said foreign labor is very regulated in their country. However, it appears to be an exception for the Philippines as they opened their hotel sector for Filipino workers in partnership with the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration or POAA, with at least 500 hired individuals flying for the first batch. Flus added they have set 2,000 slots for the Philippines. Besides Filipinos, the ambassador noted that they are also welcoming workers from Jordan. Beep cards can now be used to buy some of your go-to snacks as the Light Rail Transit One operator partners with several merchants. This is in line with the formal launching of Tap to Pay campaign aiming to deliver more convenient options to the riding public. Under the project, partnered merchants were provided portable payment and loading devices for availing commuters. According to the Light Rail Manila Corporation, the move is yet another move to push for the digitization efforts in the transport sector. Passengers may also top up their beep cards using any load denomination without a convenience fee. More stories from the newsroom. Authorities investigate the presence of victors disrupting boat ticket sales and trips in Dumaguete. The post office honors national artist Larry Alcala with stamps featuring his Slice of Life series. Details ahead. Stay with the PNA Newsroom. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly changed our lives for the worse. Lives and jobs were lost and economies reached a meltdown. Thanks to the arrival of safe and effective vaccines, we are one step closer to normalcy. It's time to do our part, get vaccinated for our safety and for our recovery.
You are there in that community, go there and have yourself vaccinated by any of the vaccines available. They are all potent, they are all effective.
I would like to appeal to all our kababayans, please get vaccinated against COVID-19 and be the government partner in preventing further spread of the disease. I encourage you to get vaccinated as soon as possible time. These vaccines are safe and they are the key to reopening our society. The need for international solidarity and cooperation cannot be made clearer than this pandemic because everyone is safe. No one is safe globally until everybody is safe.
Vaccines work. Authorities are working to stop the reselling of boat tickets by alleged fixers preying on passengers and disrupting trips at the Dumaguete City Port. More on this and other news from the provinces from Marita Mawahe.
The Philippine Ports Authority and the Maritime Industry Authority are investigating the reported presence of fixers allegedly buying and reselling tickets from shipping lines at the Dumaguete port. The move comes after a journalist bound for Siquijor via Dumaguete posted on social media on May 21 about people selling tickets at higher prices. Rocky de la Peña, Administrative Officer 1 heading the local Marina office, said a meeting was held with shipping lines operating the Dumaguete route to discuss how to ease the plight of travelers, especially during the peak season. The shipping lines denied the presence of fixers and promised to do their own investigation. Meanwhile, the Negros Oriental Police Provincial Office is intensifying its anti-crime operations through synchronized managing of enhanced police operations or SEMPO. Police Provincial Director Colonel Germano Malyari said SEMPO, also known as One-Time Big-Time Operation, focuses on the proliferation of loose firearms and ammunition, the arrest of most wanted persons, and illegal drugs. The one-time big-time operations are held simultaneously in one day or within 24 hours once a month. A total of 124 individuals were arrested on May 21 during the one-day anti-criminality operation. In South Cotabato, an explosion ripped through the back of a passenger bus, injuring 2 people in Coronadal City on Thursday afternoon. The yellow bus line unit was cruising a busy highway around noon near a mall when the explosion occurred, injuring a tricycle driver and another unidentified individual. An explosion happened later in Tacurong City but nobody was hurt. Brigadier General Eduardo Gubat, acting 6th Infantry Division Commander, said the bombings may have been a retaliation for the May 23, 2022 death of Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighter Kariyalan faction member Abdul Patir. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muaje.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency in the Caraga region led the destruction of 7.8 million pesos worth of confiscated illegal drugs in Butuan City on Wednesday. Authorities destroyed over 21,000 grams of illegal drugs consisting of nearly 800 grams of shabu and over 20,000 grams of marijuana. The destruction was witnessed by the Public Attorney's Office, barangay captains in Butuan, and anti-drug support groups. PDEA 13 Director Emerson Rosales assured the residents of the Caraga region of the agency's continuing fight against illegal drugs. He also recognized the support Caraganons have shown in the fight against it. In sports, the Philippine Sports Commission thanked the Armed Forces of the Philippines for the contributions of its military athletes to the country's medal haul in the 31st Southeast Asian Games held in Hanoi, Vietnam. PSC Chair Butch Ramirez thanked the 117 enlisted athletes and coaches from the 3 branches of the military, saying the AFP has been supportive in international competitions. Olympic champion weightlifter Heidelin Diaz of the Air Force, Navy trackster Clinton Bautista, and boxers Ian Clark Bautista and Yumir Marshall of the Navy and Air Force delivered gold medals in their respective sports. Joining them are Muay Thai's Philip Delamino of the Navy and women's basketball players Janine Pontejos and Franz Marie Cabinbin from the Army and Maris Andrea Cabinbin from the Navy. Military athletes also grabbed 11 silver and 16 bronze medals. Team Philippines brought home 52 gold, 70 silver, and 104 bronze medals and ended up 4th overall in the medal standings. The Philippine Postal Corporation honors cartoonist and national artist for visual arts Larry Alcala with a commemorative stamp featuring his well-known Slice of Life cartoon series. In 1988, Slice of Life received the Best in Humor Award for depicting the Filipinos' ability to laugh at themselves amid crises. Alcala is also known for his 1947 Calabog and Bosyo, the longest-running Filipino serial, and classics such as Calabog and Bosyo, Goryo and His Jeepney, and modern classic Kiko Machine, among others. Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio hailed Alcala for his artful commentaries that embody Filipino culture, tradition, heritage, and social issues. Stamps and official first day covers are now available at the Philatelic Counter, Manila Central Post Office. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Metro Manila and several other parts of the country remain under COVID-19 Alert Level 1 from June 1 to 15. Government officials and business leaders express support for the incoming members of the Marcos cabinet. The Department of Health warns that no vaccine has yet been authorized to prevent monkeypox. And the Post Office honors national artist Larry Alcala with stamps featuring his Slice of Life series. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19.
So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day and happy weekend, everyone.